"I'm glad Dad cheated," my son said, not even lowering his voice. The sentence landed between us like something with a pulse. For a moment, I thought I'd misheard him. The cafe was loud, milk steaming, chairs scraping, cups clinking, but his face was calm, relieved even, like he'd been carrying those words for months and was finally grateful to set them down. I looked at him, at the boy I raised alone through tax seasons when I slept 4 hours a night, at the man now sitting across from me wearing his father's watch. "You're right, son," I said. His eyebrows twitched. He'd expected a fight, tears, a lecture about loyalty. Instead, I lifted my coffee and took a sip. It had already gone cold. "I mean it," he said, leaning back. "Erica makes him happy. You and Dad were miserable. Everyone saw it." Everyone. The word stretched wide enough to erase 33 years. I watched his hands as he talked. He gestured the way his father always had, controlled, patient, as if explaining something obvious to someone slow. "You never listened to him," he continued. "You were always working, always counting something. He needed someone warm." Warm. I pictured spreadsheets balanced at the kitchen table while he did homework beside me. Dinners reheated so he could eat after practice. I didn't interrupt. I let him build his case brick by brick until there was nothing left of me inside it. When he finished, he looked lighter, cleansed. I reached into my purse and placed a 20 on the table. The bill flattened under my palm. My hand didn't shake. That surprised me more than anything. "That covers lunch," I said. He frowned. "You're leaving?" "I have a call to make." He searched my face, waiting for the angle of the trap. There wasn't one. I stood, slid my chair in quietly, and leaned down to kiss his cheek. He stiffened, like affection had become unfamiliar. "I'm glad you told me the truth," I said. Outside, the air felt sharper. My phone was already in my hand before the door closed behind me. I scrolled to a number I'd saved months ago and never thought I'd use. As it rang, I realized I wasn't trying to fix anything anymore. I was preparing to account for it. The call went to voicemail. I didn't leave a message. Some things are better delivered in person. I walked the long way back to my condo, past the bridge where I used to wait during his piano lessons. He hated practicing. I paid for 6 years anyway. I thought discipline would give him music when the world got loud. Instead, he sold the keyboard I gave him for graduation. Said it took up too much space. He never asked how I managed tuition, or where the check for that $3,000 lab fee came from sophomore year. It came from a gold band I wore for 31 years. I slid it off one morning and held it in my fist for an hour before walking into a pawn shop. I didn't tell him. He thought scholarships covered everything. They didn't. He called me controlling last Christmas, said I asked too many questions, that I hovered, that I didn't know how to let go. This was after I'd driven 4 hours with a pie he never touched and a coat he never unwrapped. Erica sat across from me at that dinner, smiling politely, referring to me only as his mother, like I was a detail to acknowledge, not a person to engage. My son said nothing, just refilled her wine. I left early. My chair was cold by the time they noticed I was gone. Now he lives in a condo Warren pays for, drives a car I helped him buy. The paperwork is still in my name, though I doubt he's looked at it. He once told me he wanted to be independent. I wanted that for him too. That's why I made sure he never saw the cracks I patched at midnight. Why I kept the lights on during the years Warren forgot what partnership meant. I gave my son a life that didn't feel like survival. And now, when he looks at me, he sees something suffocating. That was fine. It was time to make an adjustment. Warren didn't tell me about Erica until after he moved out. She understands me, he said. She listens. I'd spent 3 decades listening, to birth plans, budget talks, the sound of him shutting doors too hard when I asked about receipts. I didn't raise my voice when he filed. I didn't cry when the court handed him the house, the grill I bought for his 40th, the couch where we watched our son take his first steps. He took it all, including the version of me he decided to rewrite. Erica moved in 3 weeks after the papers were signed. She called herself a healing coach, sold journals online with cursive quotes on the cover. My son sent me one for Mother's Day. I never opened it. She posts now. passive affirmations dressed as wisdom, let go of women who use silence as a weapon. When masculine energy finds peace, feminine control must step aside. I don't follow her. Mutual friends send screenshots anyway. My son comments sometimes. Little hearts, clapping hands. Once he shared one with the caption, "She gets it." I could have replied. Could have. Explained the energy bills I paid alone while Warren found himself on golf retreats. Could have told Erica about the mold I scrubbed from bathroom tiles while pregnant because Warren was too tired after work. Instead, I updated my estate folder. I removed Warren from emergency contacts, rerouted the life insurance, assigned power of attorney to a friend from college I hadn't seen in years, but who still checked in every December. Then I boxed up the last photos from the house and moved into the condo by the lake. Smaller, quieter, mine. I kept one thing from the old life, a safety deposit box Warren never knew about. Inside were copies of every loan, gift, and transfer I'd made in our son's name. Records I told myself I'd never need. Proof I wasn't the kind of person who kept score. I didn't keep score. I kept records. There's a difference. The manila folder was thicker than I remembered. I laid it flat on the kitchen counter and opened it carefully, smoothing the edges like it might wrinkle under scrutiny. On top was the trust document I created the year my son started high school. Back when I thought love meant planning for every possible future. College, grad school, housing, even international study. I'd been meticulous. He'd never noticed. Below it were copies of every bank transfer I'd made since he turned 18. Tuition payments, emergency funds, emergencies that looked like ski trips or moving costs. There was the car deposit, too. $6,500 wired directly to the dealership. He'd said he'd pay it back. I never reminded him. But I kept the agreement. His signature sat at the bottom, slightly crooked, like he'd been rushing. The last page was a handwritten note from 3 years ago. "Thanks for helping me. I know I don't say it enough. Love you. No date, no return." I closed the folder and rested my palms on the cover. Then I picked up my phone. "Miss Dyer," I said when she answered. "It's Callista Wren." She didn't hesitate. "Of course. How can I help?" "It's time to revise the beneficiaries." There was a pause. Then, understood. I asked to dissolve the educational trust, reallocate the balance, remove my son's name, assign insurance to my niece, who cared for my sister full time, transfer the condo to the other niece already listed in my will. Miss Dyer didn't ask why. Then I pulled out the repayment clause she'd drafted years earlier. At the time, she'd asked if I was sure I wanted it included. I'd told her I probably wouldn't use it. "I'm activating this," I said. She read carefully. "Total? $74,800 itemized, plus interest. That brings it to just over $81,000. Good, full balance due in 30 days. She looked up. "Would you like to attach a personal letter?" "No, just the numbers." She typed while I watched the cursor blink next to his name. Tobias Wren. I remembered the hospital room. Warren asleep in the chair. The nurse handing me the form. How carefully I'd written his name. Now I was removing it. The envelope was sealed by the time I left. The weight of it felt precise. Not vengeance, not grief. Balance. I delivered it myself the next morning. Warren opened the door in a robe, still tying the sash. Erica hovered at the top of the stairs in something floaty and pale. My son came down barefoot, phone in hand. "What is this?" he asked after skimming the pages. "A detailed breakdown of every payment I've made on your behalf, plus interest." His face changed. "You said you didn't expect me to pay you back." "I didn't, until yesterday. There's no way I can pay this. You have 30 days. Mom, this is insane." "No," I said, "this is math." I stepped back. "You said your father found someone better. I'm agreeing with you." Then I left. The first call came the next morning. I let it ring. By nightfall, there were 5 missed calls and 2 voicemails. I didn't listen. On day 3, he switched to text. "Can we talk? Please." I placed the phone face down. On day 5, the call came just after sunrise. I was folding laundry, the dryer humming softly. This time I answered. "I transferred $12,000, he said quickly. "I sold the car. I need to see you." He arrived 20 minutes later wearing the college hoodie I'd given him years ago. It hung too loose now. He stood in the middle of my living room like he didn't know where he belonged. I was angry, he said. Erica said things. She's persuasive. But you were listening, I replied. He flinched. Just enough. I don't need your apology, I said. I need the balance. He nodded. I'll pay it. Every cent. I handed him a printed payment schedule. He read it twice before signing. Jaw tight, pen moving slowly, deliberately. When he finished, he slid it back with both hands. I'll set up automatic payments. I won't remind you, I said. That's the point. He looked at me then. Not through me, not past me. Can I still come by for coffee sometimes? Coffee, yes, I said. Trust, not yet. 2 years passed. Without ceremony. Every fourth Friday, the deposit arrived. Same amount, same time. He never missed one. I printed each receipt and filed it in a drawer labeled simply proof. Not of debt, of effort. He moved into a smaller apartment, drove a used sedan. Erica disappeared quietly. We didn't discuss it. Sometimes he stopped by, once to fix a leaky faucet. Sometimes just coffee, no speeches, no confessions, just shared space. At the end of every quarter, I tallied the totals. Just over $28,000 repaid so far. I don't spend it. I let it collect. Quiet coins of accountability. Today I slid receipt number 24 into the folder and closed the drawer. Then I poured myself a second cup of coffee and stood by the window, watching the lake hold the light. When we love, we give. Sometimes too much. And when that love is misunderstood, it's tempting to explain ourselves until we disappear. I don't do that anymore. I keep what's mine now. My records, my boundaries, my warmth. Even when no one is watching.